guess we can get right into it, really.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, here, I will bring up Frenzy here first, just because when I saw this animation here, I mean, that's pretty cool. So this is all distress, essentially.
Well, yeah. So Berzerk and Frenzy are what we like to do when there's a original game and a good sequel, a solid sequel.
Yeah,
we like to combine the two games together on either cab, but also make both cabs available. So, I mean, if you wanted to buy Berzerk, you can also play Frenzy on it, is what I'm saying. But a lot of people want both, although, you know, they're very similar games. So what we did with Frenzy to make it special is we made it part of our overhaul editions, which we've been doing actually for a couple of years now. We started with asteroids, and the same concept where everything is just basically arcade destructed. And this is essentially, you're looking at, you know, a 40-year-old arcade machine rather than one that's factory fresh, which is the case with the Berzerk cab. So this one, we took it even one step further, and we're calling this our Survivor series. Wrestling pun. And big wrestling fans. And because it's just a new next level of basically battleware, you know. And you're on right now the flickering marquee.
It's so cool.
Yeah. Don't look at it too much. You might get epilepsy and faint or something. But the good news is this is a feature in the menu that, you know, you can set to intervals. I believe it's 1, 5, or 10 minutes, and it'll do a cycle. Or you could just shut it off and it'll just stay on all the time, or it'll just stay off all the time. Whatever you choose. But it's really unique, and we just thought it kicked it up a notch in the sort of half-working arcade machine world.
I love it.
So yeah, it's kind of like, if you think about what else have we done? We also did probably my favorite one before this was the Warren Davis edition of 𝗕𝗘𝗢𝗠, which was basically, we just took Warren Davis, who's the creator of 𝗕𝗘𝗢𝗠. He has a prototype cab in his house, and we're like, well, you know what? Let's copy this thing 100%. So like, it has kind of the same idea that the marquee lighting's a little bit uneven. It has like artwork that was you know, changed prior to production, stains on the side, all these things, you know. And it turned out, you know, quite popular. So we're like, oh, let's keep doing it. And this one is really, you know, again, the most battle damaged, even out of the Warren Davis, you know, dirt, grime, chipped wood, all that stuff. It's here. So.
Well, and you know, people love, I mean, at least in the 6-scale world, I mean, as far as figures, I mean, everybody loves battle damage stuff. I mean, it's really cool, and it adds to that. Like, I remember that being in the arcades, man. Things were just messed up. I mean, shit happened, you know, it gets damaged, dinged up, or so old they haven't fixed the marquee or things like that. I mean, it adds character to it.
Yeah, for sure. And another cool thing about both of these cabs is there's actually the control panel on the stern arcade machines back in the day were all metal. And so we actually are injecting this one, the control panel, also in metal. And on the Berzerk, the artwork is printed on, so there's parts of exposed metal that look really cool. Frenzy doesn't have any exposed metal, but with the overhaul, we wore away a lot of the paint, so you know, you'll still see some of the metal shining through on the artwork on the control panel. So really cool game. We're putting our 8-way micro switch joystick in there. which is just the same. It's our best joystick, most accurate. It's the same one that's in Ghosts and Goblins, which is coming out. We'll talk about it in a minute. Also, Street Fighter 8-way joystick to play Berzerk and Frenzy properly.
And I'll tell you, that's great, man, because that Street Fighter joystick is awesome.
Yeah, thank you. We made that from scratch, and we're really proud of it. And I mean, if you can pull off moves in Street Fighter, you know, you're gonna play Berzerk, no problem with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's so awesome, man. So this is actually kind of cool though too, because, and I know you mentioned this last time, right, with Ghosts and Goblins, but even moving forward, then I mean, you're also doing the coin op action.
Yeah, so the coin op action is something that basically we're going to try to include in everything going forward that has some sort of coin op function. And it just brings a whole nother level of, you know, the process of playing a arcade machine, really. I mean, back in the day, there was no free play, you know, it was like you scraped up quarters. You would return Coke bottles you found in the field, whatever you had to do to try to scrape up a few quarters.
Change.
Yeah. And so, you know, it's actually something that we wanted to do from the very beginning. And people used to, we've always included the 1/6 scale metal tokens or quarters with all of our machines. And everybody's always like, well, what are you supposed to do with these? And I'm like, well, you could put them on the bezel as next game, as decoration, you know, that kind of stuff. But it's like, you know, well, what if you could put them in and register a credit? And, you know, it's taken us some time, but we finally got around to it. So so
it'll actually, it'll be just as authentic as the machines then, right? You pop the coin in and it's gonna click over and say, okay, you've added a credit, press start.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so awesome.
And to expand on that, the accessories that you're showing there, a couple things of you know, that were new for Ghosts and Goblins are going to be featured in Berzerk and Frenzy too, like the fake AC cable, the 1/6 scale cable, which is kind of neat, and eventually everybody's going to see what these are for, but we're going to keep that a secret for right now.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a purpose here.
There is a purpose.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was just aesthetics or.
Well, it was always like, well, why not have, you know, it actually came up with 𝗠𝗘𝗏 because 𝗠𝗘𝗏, you know, in the movie, he's unplugged, right? That's the big, oh, how's it working when it's unplugged? It's magic.
Right, it's the magic.
Yeah, so we're like, you know what? We're making this AC cable 1/6, you know, why not start putting them in with arcade machines? I mean, they also plugged into a wall, right? So it's just another level of detail. And really excited because Berzerk and Frenzy, now we're combining, like I said, everything that was new for Ghosts and Goblins, the coin action, the cash box. What's cool though is this is a single door coin box. So we're like, well, how do we include a safety bar, right? Because we have a safety bar that we used for 1943 Overhaul Edition. Actually, that was the first one. So it's a metal safety bar with the padlock that everybody, you know, remembers that a lot of arcades ended up putting on machines too, right? For safety reasons. Because I mean, it's funny. I remember like going to arcades and seeing kids bust them open with screwdrivers, and you could do it really fast, you know, and open it up and steal the quarters inside. And so we're like, well, that's a pretty authentic feature. And so what we did is we're like, okay, with 1943, it's permanently attached, but with Berzerk and Frenzy, it's actually held into the cabinet with magnetic force. So you can pull it off and, you know, open the coin door, access the cash bucket, and, you know, close it up and use it if you want, or not put it on at all. You know, it's kind of up to the owner to do that. Another cool accessory is another metal accessory, which we love. We love doing products that represent the proper materials. So mixed media stuff, and you know, of course, our cabs are wood and metal, right? And we've always done metal coin doors, and we really think it adds a lot to the authenticity. And so, you know, both the safety bar and there's can also be a kick plate. That's a diamond plate kind of thing that goes along the bottom, helps prevent damage and stuff like that. And that's also an optional accessory, but pretty neat, and something extra people can use on their Berzerk or Frenzy if they choose to. It's basically it's just an adhesive, so if you put it on, it's going to be stuck on there. But
okay.
Worst comes to worst, you can remove it if you wanted to.
Sure, right. It shouldn't be, yeah, just adhesive like you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad. That's pretty cool. Well, and the thing too, though, I noticed if I go back to the home, you are doing a bundle.
We are doing a bundle, and you could save a few extra bucks. A lot of people want every cab, so this just gives everybody a little bit of a price break, and just kind of a way for us to say thank you to everybody who, you know, buys both cabs. And what's cool about these is they're going to be factory sealed at the factory in their own master carton, so very little tampering. Same with Ghosts and Goblins, we did the same thing. And one more feature I want to point out, which is the biggest one actually on these two new cabs, is a really cool feature that Stern had back in the day, where you could access the PCB board from the front of the cabinet. So there's it's a push and pop magnetic door that we replicated right beside to the left of the coin door, and you just push it, pop it open, and you can pull out a fake PCB recreation of PCB that we did on this board drawer, and it's pretty close. I mean, we tried to get a lot of the details of the board in there, the power supply, all the logic board, all that stuff, as close as we can. It's really neat, and it's really, like, I'm not sure what else we can do after this.
No, I mean, it's not much at all. No, this is awesome. You created, you really recreated it in 6 scale. I mean, in every way. I mean, that is awesome. That's so cool looking. I mean, the distressed is awesome. I mean,
the distress is really cool, and Frenzy's like this orange cab, and it's like, it just looks better, honestly. It's distressed because it's got dark spots on it and everything else. But just touching on the PCB board, it's funny because, you know, a lot of people who bought Dragon's Lair didn't even realize it came with a Laserdisc player. So
I happen to have it right here.
Yeah, we're really
or two of them here, right?
We're really looking forward to people like going, what the
right? Maybe months later they don't even know, and they're like, whoa, what happened? I didn't know this was here. Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
And that's what we love doing. We love it when there's little things you notice about the product after you've bought it, you know, little reveals and fun things.
Right, like just the more things you find over time. I mean,
yeah.
You know, did I see something about this? I don't remember if it was people talking about it or if you had posted it. But the Atari, did you end up changing this to Stern, or is this staying Atari? Or
this is an ongoing thing. And this is like the 2 biggest hurdles that we've faced replicating and recreating the arcade machines. Is one, the scale, obviously,
right,
with
of course, right,
and ergonomics too. You know, we have to kind of keep all that in mind because we like our games to be playable on the actual unit, not just, you know, via USB or whatever, right? So, I mean, that's always an issue, but we've always taken the challenge. And the other is licensing, and the story with Berzerk and Frenzy is pretty actually interesting, because Berzerk was a huge game.
Yeah.
But I think there were, I want to say 40,000 cabs were made. I actually might be more. I might be wrong about that, but
Oh
there's at
wow.
least 40,000 cabs. And to put that in a little bit of perspective, Street Fighter 2 CE, which is kind of the biggest arcade machine from the 90s and forward, had the most install base, was 25,000 units. So Berzerk was everywhere. That game was everywhere. Frenzy, not so much, but Berzerk was definitely everywhere. And it was by far Stearns, who, you know, obviously make pinball machines. This was their biggest arcade smash hit, you know, was Berzerk. And a lot of that had to do with the voice synthesis.
Yeah, I mean that was like, I think it was the first, wasn't it?
It's one of the firsts.
Yeah.
And I think they actually got that probably from pinball. I don't know for sure. But we've been trying for actually a long time to get Gary Stern to license us Berzerk and Frenzy, because it's a game we've always wanted to do. It's just such a staple. It's just an arcade staple, you know. And of course, it has the coin detected in pocket famous speech. So, like when you finish a game, it'll go through a loop and it'll hit the highest scores in a coin detected in pocket, right?
It's awesome.
Just, it really freaked people out back in the day. And
oh yeah.
So anyways,
like what?
Really, a long story short is that Atari ended up purchasing all the IP rights from Stern. And so Atari, we licensed through Atari. We ended up licensing this project through Atari. They were like, hey, we have Berzerk. I'm like, we're in. I mean, we want to do it right away. And but the problem is we can't really be 100% authentic without Stern giving us the appropriate approval to use their name on the machine, right? So we basically were like, all right, can we change the name Stern to a parody, right? Like STURN, right? And I don't think anybody really liked that too much. And then we proposed, well, can we make the Atari logo look like the old Stern logo, right? And Atari actually came around and said, yeah, okay, you know, you can do that. But what we're gonna do here is two things. A, we're still chipping away at Stern, so nothing's set in stone at this time.
Okay.
B, the second thing is we're gonna put out a poll to everybody who's pre-ordered, and we're gonna ask the question and get everybody's feedback. It's like, all right, a lot of people really don't want it to say Atari just because of the authenticity, and when we totally
right, exactly
that, you know, and it's we're trying our best, but you know, maybe the best option if we can't get Stern to finally approve this and is to leave it blank. So you know, that might be a better way to go, and then you know, you could draw your own Stern logo.
Right, people can like, you know, decal, water decal or something if they want to. I mean, yeah, that's a tough one because I mean, it's better than having like a fake like spoof name, right? Because again, people want the authenticity. But then if that's the case, then they likely might not want an Atari logo, or in the middle. Yeah, I think a poll would be great because maybe the Atari logo, you know, like you mentioned, kind of like in the Stern font, like style, maybe. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I think you know, if it's up to us, we'd probably just use the Atari one since there's something there. Plus, it was pretty cool of Atari to let us change their logo.
Of course.
Big, you know, they're a pretty big corporation and they don't really do that kind of stuff, but they love us and they're like, all right,
that's awesome.
You know, if it helps, we'll do it, you know.
I mean, personally, for me, it doesn't bother me at all. But I mean, you know, I'm sure there's gonna be some, but I mean, you can't please everybody either. If just given the situation, I mean, as you're mentioning, right? I mean, if Atari ended up getting the licensing for it, that's who has it. I mean,
that's who has it now, and there's certain things that we have to change. Like for instance, on one of the track mode sequences, it has the old Stern legal. I mean, that needs to be changed now to
Mhm.
Atari, like, you know, legally. That's not a big deal. It's just the logos that are throwing people off a little bit. And yeah, we really want to hear back from everybody and really get an idea of how people feel. So that'll be going out to everybody who pre-orders here probably next week after the pre-order's over.
Oh, and that's pretty soon too, right? I mean, this is, I think you had a,
Yeah,
I don't know if it
we're
was right on the top. You had a countdown,
yeah,
didn't you? Yeah.
it's at the top there, the main page. Yeah, so we're I mean we're wrapping this up on Friday. Uh, we have so much going on, and so we're behind in announcements and pre-sales, just because we have so much new products coming.